Let's get a check on our forecast. And Tamara, some folks may notice a little smoke in the sky.
Yeah, we've got a hazy layer out there, and currently you can look from the West Sacramento sky cam here at Sutter Health Park and look across the Tower Bridge out towards downtown Sacramento, and you can clearly see a layer of haze as there's not a whole lot of wind stirring about, but the overall flow that has been in the upper levels of the atmosphere is helping to drag down some smoke from fires burning that are to the north of Eureka. So plan for some hazy skies, temperatures in the upper 50s right now, so a comfortable morning start. We may see some areas get down to the mid 50s as we get closer to daybreak here about 50 minutes from now. We'll be in the low 60s by 10 a.m., upper 70s by noon, and another warm day on the horizon. So plan accordingly with those temperatures getting into about the mid 80s for today. The other thing to plan for, of course, is some of the concentration of wildfire smoke. The air quality is actually good across the Sierra. Many foothill spots waking up, and you've got good air quality as well. Where you start to see a thicker concentration of smoke is going to be in parts of Sacramento County as well as extending into San Joaquin County. So Tracy, Stockton, Galton to Sacramento. If you are waking up and smelling any wildfire smoke, it's advised not to spend a prolonged period of time outside in it. And also be prepared to really kind of just close your windows and things like that, not letting some of that particulate matter make it into your home. Coming up in my full forecast, I'll show you where the smoke may move as we go through the day today and where we could see some rain and when we get some cooler temperatures this week. It's coming up in my forecast. 6:02 right now. If you're heading out on the highways, Brian, what's out there?
Well, if Interstate 80 is part of your ride, this is what it looks like through Antelope Road right now. We're starting to see some increased volume, but traffic's still moving along at the speed limit with no delays along the I-80 corridor or Highway 50, all looking good there, as you can see in this live picture. Everything moving along. So no delays on that stretch. 5 and 99 also looking good. No delays out of Elk Grove this morning, and we're free and clear out across the causeway as you make your way towards Davis or out of Davis into Sacramento. Through Stockton, no problems on 5 and 99. Westbound Highway 4, we've got a minor incident we'll get to in a second, but first 99 is a 15-minute ride. Westbound 205, 33 minutes, and westbound 580 through the Tracy Triangle and the Altamont Pass, another 27 minutes there. Right now, Highway 120 is closed right near Jacktone Road. We had a vehicle versus pedestrian in that stretch there. So between Jacktone Road and Ripon Road, it's closed, and those will be your alternates to get around that stretch of Highway 120 just to the east of Manteca. Then on Highway 4, we've seen some slowing where they've had the eastbound lane closed as they work to retrieve a vehicle that went off into the water there. Highway 50 is a 10-minute ride out of Rancho Cordova. Interstate 80, 9 minutes from Roseville. 5 and 99 sitting at 11 minutes out of Elk Grove. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Brian. Live Copter 3 flying over Sacramento after a truck crashed here into a home. You can see the damage it caused. A vehicle first hit a fire hydrant and then slammed right into the front of the house. This crash happened last night on 14th Avenue and 39th Street in Oak Park. And this is what it looked like from the ground. You could see damage left behind here as crews worked to get the truck out of the house. When crews arrived, the driver was unconscious. The cause is under investigation. Hours after the Sacramento County District Attorney launched his legal action, City Council heard a report on its new plan to deal with homelessness complaints and concerns.
And while the Sacramento leaders did not discuss the DA's lawsuit, they did hear some pretty troubling findings. KCRA 3's Leticia Ordaz is live in Sacramento now with more on the new report from a team that is supposed to help the homeless.
Deirdre and Teo, good morning. We heard last night that on any given day, 120 calls come into that number 311 to report homeless encampments that are set up illegally throughout the city. And it was told that on average, it's 16 days for crews to respond. Neighbors say they are fed up and that more needs to be done. The incident commander for the homeless response told the council that they're working diligently to improve communications among the agencies and to fill vacant spots on the team to address calls for help quicker. Homeless advocates say the homeless need help and not extra enforcement. But one homeowner who lives by the X Street Navigation Center says her family feels like they are being held hostage by the homeless who have threatened their lives and even set a fire in front of their home.
In addition to calling the police, we've submitted over 36 311 requests, as well as emails to Councilmember Katie Valenzuela and Mayor Steinberg. We received only a few canned responses and zero progress in getting this camp moved.
My fear is that the city will prove that the lawsuit doesn't have any grounds by stepping up enforcement, towing people's cars, citing people, who don't have any money, and ultimately the real harm will be to our unhoused neighbors.
The Sacramento City Council allocated more than $4.6 million from a state grant to keep the X Street Navigation Center open and running. Officials note that shelter is full on any given night, and homeless advocates say they will be watching the city very closely to make sure they don't go overboard with enforcing a community that is vulnerable and needs extra resources. In downtown Sacramento, Leticia Ordaz, KCLA 3 News.
All right, Leticia, thank you. In the latest count, Sacramento County had 9,300 homeless people. That's up 67% from 2019, and homeless encampments have grown. District Attorney Tin Ho says the city has a legal obligation to deal with the health and safety issues. Now, Mayor Steinberg says lawsuits distract city officials from the real work that needs to be done to solve this crisis.
Well, happening right now, Governor Gavin Newsom is in New York City and is about to address the United Nations Climate Ambition Summit. At today's summit, government and business leaders are going to deliver ideas on tackling climate change from 3 different approaches: ambition, credibility, and implementation. Now, by the end of the summit, the UN is hoping to have clear climate targets for 2025 and 2030. He's set to speak in about an hour. We'll have some of those comments on My 58 this morning.
Well, as the governor speaks about the climate, we have seen the impact of some unusual tropical weather already this season.
And while it is kind of late for the tropical storm season, there is still some activity that is creating some concern. Let's go to KCRA 3 meteorologist Dirk Verdorn. He's got a look.
Yeah, we've got some more storms to talk about. Again, conditions, we are still, November is usually the end of hurricane season, so we still have a whole month ahead of us, and we're at the letter N. Nigel is out in the Atlantic, and it's a fairly strong storm. We've had some pretty big storms this season, but not a lot of landfall. We had the one in Florida, but other than that, we've had a lot of these storms that have been so strong just staying out in the open ocean, and Nigel is one of those. So currently it's a Category 2 with 100-mile-an-hour winds. It's moving to the north at about 16 miles per hour, and it's just going to continue to work its way to the north in the Atlantic and eventually kind of wind its way just south of Iceland is what it's going to do. So unless you're a ship, it's not going to be a problem. The other storm that we're watching is Franklin, and Franklin is in the eastern Pacific, and you can see it too is out there in the middle of nowhere. But we have winds sustained at about 45 miles per hour. It is a tropical storm, and it's just going to continue to weaken as it works its way, kind of wandering its way up more to the north. But again, what's interesting is there's only 7 more names left in the Atlantic. After Nigel, we have Ophelia. That's going to be the next named storm, and I'm sure that'll be happening within the next week or so. So that's what's going on with the tropical weather. Now back over to you.
All right, Dirk, thank you.
So a lot more going on in the House now as conservative lawmakers derailed another budget vote, this time on a year-long defense bill.
There's little hope of passing even a short-term budget before next week's deadline. Mike Cherry's in studio now with more on how this vote went.
Yeah, so currently there's no good news from Republicans, with the House at a standstill and some members voting against their own bill. The usually popular military funding bill ending in a rowdy losing procedural vote to get it to the floor, with 5 hard right Republicans helping sink it. Expectations to pass a short-term budget are even lower as House Speaker Kevin McCarthy fights for steep spending cuts. But members of the ultra-conservative House Freedom Caucus want more, leaving little optimism for Congress of getting things done before the deadline.
You're talking about 5 members that don't represent the conference, in my judgment. They may have their own reasons, but I don't quite understand it. And I think it's dangerous because our adversaries are watching.
There's no doubt in my mind we're headed for a shutdown. I'm looking at it. Is that shutdown going to be 10 days or is that shutdown going to be 10 weeks?
So the Senate is voting today to suspend rules to overcome a similar conservative blockade and pass budget bills that have broad bipartisan support. Democratic leaders say the budget bills in the House will not be passing the Senate. Teo.
Hey, Mike, how could a shutdown impact the average person?
So the White House did outline some of those impacts in a new memo this morning. The big one could impact anyone with a plane ticket. It would force air traffic controllers and TSA to work without pay. Some of them may choose to stay home, meaning some big delays potentially for flyers. The military would be among the federal employees that have to keep working without pay. Head Start programs for young children would also close. Federal agencies that inspect food, water, and workplace safety would stop or be delayed. And in case of a natural disaster, FEMA would be dangerously low or run out of money. And that could have an impact here because October is the peak of wildfire season. Teo and Deirdre.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Well, today the Writers Guild of America will resume talks with Hollywood studios as their strike hits day 141. The Guild asked for writers to continue to demonstrate on the picket line. Talks are expected to last several days. Writers have been seeking residuals from streaming and protections from artificial intelligence. For studios, there could be a sense of urgency as they return to the bargaining table.
If they don't have a deal by the end of this month, early October, we're looking at 2024 to get things back into production.
We're going to get what's been taped and out there, but there's no hope for scripted starting at the top of next year if this resolution doesn't happen immediately.
Well, that means if you're looking for new stuff to watch, the supply could start to run dry if a deal with writers is made that doesn't mean production resumes immediately. Studios also need to reach a deal with the Screen Actors Guild. They are also picketing.
Meanwhile, the UAW is threatening to expand the strike against the big three automakers within days. The strike is in its sixth day and it's limited to 3 plants. But the UAW president says that if automakers fail to give up ground in negotiations by noon Friday, the strike will expand. Ford and General Motors stand to lose about $40 million in profits per week during the strike. The number could go up if it does expand. Now, the strike by auto workers is being felt in other industries too. U.S. Steel says it's temporarily idling one of its furnaces at a plant in Illinois. Company spokeswoman estimates that the temporary layoffs are going to last less than 6 months. The head of the local steelworkers union estimated that up to 350 of the plant's 1,300 workers could be laid off.